Hello, everyone. This is Smitty the Chinese-American Dragon. Now, don't be alarmed. There's nothing wrong with your television or computer screen or phone or whatever it is you're watching this video on. We, the puppets, have been left in charge as Anthony is on vacation. So, we were given instructions on what type of videos we were to do, but you know what? We're going to do whatever the heck we want to. So, for my episode, we're going to discuss lost media and canceled games by Sega. Alright, so without further ado, let's get started. Now, many of you know that Sonic is undoubtedly the mascot of Sega. Since his first appearance in Sonic the Hedgehog in 1991, he has been, without a doubt, the most recognizable symbol for this particular game company. As years have progressed, games have been released to critical acclaim. Well, for the most part. After all, I'm one of those people that no matter what it is, if it's got Sonic on it, I'm going to play it. And because of the fact that the video game world is rife with rumors, there are stories out there about some games that never quite made it. For instance, the first thing I'm going to discuss today is the story of the Sonic Hedgehog Lost Tokyo Toy Show prototype build from 1990. So let's learn a little bit about this. So what you're looking at here are a couple screenshots from this lost build. Now, according to what I read, the game itself was created, or this playable demo, was created for this show in June of 1990, the Tokyo Toy Show. Excuse me, it's just you playing Sonic going through the Green Hill Zone. As you can see by looking at some of these pictures, some of the details have been changed if you are familiar with this game. A couple other interesting things were added later on. It was cleaned up a little bit. So I guess the big question is here, what happened to this early playable build? Well, that's an interesting question. Now, when they interviewed the gentleman that created Sonic, the gentleman by the name of Yuji Naka, he says the prototype was planned to be included in the Sega Sonic Mega Collection, released for the GameCube in 2002, but it was never put in due to Sega apparently losing the ROM. So therefore, chances are probably good it will not ever be found unless it happens to appear on somebody's computer somewhere. But you can check out a full article about it on the Lost wiki page, which I do highly recommend you to check out. Next game we have is Sonic Mars. Now, this game was set to be released for the Sega 32X. It got canceled partially because of the limitations of the 32X, and also the 32X was a big flop. The game itself was going to be based on the television series at the time and would have several different playable characters. You would have Sonic the Hedgehog, Princess Sally Acorn, Tails, Bunny Rabbit, Knuckles, and Princess Tiara. So, overall, the game itself was supposed to have 6 zones with 3 acts. You can look at some of the concept art that was here, but as I said, unfortunately, the game was not released. Now, they would use some of the concepts for this game for the next game that was to be coming out for the new Sega Saturn, but unfortunately, that ran into trouble of its own. And that game would be Sonic X-Treme. Now, Sonic X-Treme was supposed to be the launch title for the new Sega Saturn. Now, as many of you probably know, the 32X and Sega CD were not big successes. So, they felt that a whole new system would be the way to go. And thus, we had the Sega Saturn, which would have even better capabilities than the 16-bit, and therefore they believed that this would be something that would help to save Sega in its war against Nintendo. Strangely enough, this would not be the first Sonic game to be canceled for this game system, as the first one would be a game called Sonic Saturn, but we'll get to that some other time. Anyway, This particular game was set to be released in around Christmas of 96, but by 1997 it was ultimately canceled. This would have been the very first Sonic 3D game. So, what happened? Well, the big problem with this game had to do with politics, arguments between designers and artists, and pretty much everything else that could possibly go wrong. The game was pretty much stuck in developmental hell until they announced that it was canceled. So, is there any hope that we will ever get to see this game? Well, luckily, I have been able to locate 2 playable builds of what would have been Sonic X-Treme. So let's check those out. Alright, excuse me, what you're looking at here is what we call the leaked test engine. This was leaked around 2007. Now, what you're looking at here is a very early build. In this one, you get an idea of what the environment would have looked like, and you can pick up the rings, but there's no enemies, no sound, not much else. It does kind of give you a pretty good idea of what the game might have been like just by looking at this early build. So check it out if you can. You can find it different places on the internet, and it should readily work on your PC as an exe file. You don't even have to run it through an emulator. This particular build is called the V37, which you are running through a zone called Jade Gully Zone. So this one is a little bit bigger, however, no collision detection, no music, no sound, no enemies, just kind of running around. Well, so let's hope eventually something more significant does show up, as there have been interviews that you can find online with some of the programmers, and let's just hope someday that something else will come up. You can't actually find a lot of the music that was supposed to be used. Hopefully, eventually, somebody will take the ROM files that we have and hopefully create a game based on this, or even do something completely new. What are your thoughts on Sonic X-Treme? Let me know in the comments section below. I'd really love to hear what you have to say. Way back in 1994, Capcom created a really cool fighting game, or beat-em-up game, called Alien vs. Predator. These were 2 separate franchises of movies and games themselves, but they thought it would be a great idea to combine the 2. The game itself was a whole lot of fun and was a big arcade hit. The story behind this game is that the aliens have come to Earth to destroy it and take it over, and humans must fight alongside the predators in order to stop them. I guess it's one of those concepts of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, or I don't remember how that goes. Sorry about that. Anyway, so this game was really successful, and people really enjoyed it. It wouldn't be for many years later until they would make a movie tie-in of it, but it would have the same basic concept. And of course, when any concept became successful, other people decided to jump on the bandwagon. So therefore, people wondered when we would get a home port of Alien vs. Predator. And we got one. Oh boy, did we ever. Actually, I stand corrected on one note. This game here is the craptacular Aliens vs. Predator that was released in 1993 for the Super Nintendo. And I think because this game sucks so bad, that's why Capcom made their own version of the game. Ugh, boy, and this is bad. Why am I mentioning a Super Nintendo game on a video that's clearly about Sega? Well, because rumor has it they were in the process of making this game for the Sega Saturn. Sega Master System. Why didn't they? Well, mostly because this game got such bad reviews, and basically the people at Activision weren't happy with it. Back then, Activision did actually care about making quality games. But nonetheless, the game itself was never released, and it's still unknown if there are any playable builds. So do yourself a favor, don't play this game. The Super Nintendo was nowhere near on the same level as the Sega Genesis. Hey, what? Oh, what do you want, Red? Hey, get off your soapbox. Oh, sorry. Anyway, as I was saying, do yourself a favor and play the Capcom game, but don't waste your time playing the Super Nintendo version or anything else by Nintendo. Golden Axe was one of those just great Sega games. When it was first released in 1989 for the arcade, it pretty much took the world by storm. And why not? It was a really fun beat-em-up game. In this game, you take on the role of one of three heroes, and it's a fantasy kind of beat-em-up game where you're trying to fight the forces of evil. Each of you have a special amount of magical ability, but most of it is just going around and whooping the bad guys and trying to stop these evil monsters from hurting these innocent villagers. The game was such a big hit, in fact, that it was ported out to just about every single Sega computer system, and received several sequels. But one interesting fact I bet you didn't know is that they had planned a reboot of this back in 2010. Yep, it almost happened, so let's take a look at it. What you're looking at here is what is known as Golden Axe. This was in development by Sega Studios Australia in the early 2010s as part of the Sega Reborn series that were also to include Altered Beast and Streets of Rage. However, Sega Studios Australia shut down in 2013 before it could be completed. What you're looking at is the playable build that was released, or the prototype demo that was released on Steam for about a week in 2020. It's very short, just part of the first level. You only have one player. It's unknown if anything else has ever been done on this, or if this is as far as they got. But what they got is pretty cool. Let's hope someday somebody can finish this, because I'll tell you, it looks really cool. And our final game for today is Half-Life. Now, it's hard to imagine that what is considered to be one of the greatest video games of all time never got released for the system at the time, the Dreamcast. Well, it almost happened. As a matter of fact, it was getting ready to go out the door, I think, before it was canceled. Anthony told me about a time when he went to a video store, remember those? And he saw the boxes up on the shelf ready for the game to come and be released. However, it never was. Reasons being, there's several. One is that a lot of third-party game companies lost faith in the Dreamcast because of the fact that it hadn't performed as well as they thought it had. Well, by that point, even though it was a great system, in my opinion, and in the opinion of others, it didn't do as well as they thought they had. A version was released for the PlayStation 2. However, in recent years, some homebrew programmer made the Dreamcast port available on Steam for free. So let's take a look at the long-lost Dreamcast version of Half-Life. Now, I know what you're probably thinking is that, wow, it looks just like the PC version, and it does. There's really just a few subtle differences here and there. For instance, one thing I noticed is that it doesn't seem to take as long to load. Maybe I had a crappy computer back then. Probably did. Anyway, other than the loading screens sometimes and a few little things, you can't really tell the difference. So, if you're interested in trying this out, and I do recommend it, because guess what? It's free. So head over to Steam right now and grab this game. At least it was free when I tried it a couple months ago. But regardless, so you can get an idea of what that game was actually going to be like. And again, I think it's a real shame because they actually had the promo boxes out on the stores and in the video stores ready for the game, and unfortunately it just never came out. But now you can see what that game would have been like had it been released. Well, that does it for my episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let Anthony know that he should let us post our own episode sometime. I believe next is Humphrey. He's going to do an episode about some of those unreleased games and prototypes and some hidden gems for the ZX Spectrum computer. Well, until next time, this is Smitty, the Chinese-American Dragon, saying goodbye. And stop hate of all kinds, because if you don't, I'm going to come bite you. Bye.